Hey, Pastor Bill still at Mike the Prophet's kitchen table. This is my good buddy Tim Caps. Known Caps since I was a little kid, pretty much. Um, Caps, you got a question for Pastor today?
Yeah, I got one that's been touching on me for a long time. You know, I've been coming to church for a while, and got saved there, and try to be a good person, come every Sunday, and I try to walk the line. But sometimes in the Word of God, we get hung up on things like, I'm not basically a prejudiced person, but there's a lot of certain ethnic groups that aggravate me. Just, I have friends even in that certain ethnic group, but the general population of them just aggravate me. And you know what? I don't want that in my heart. You know, I've had bad run-ins with certain people, and I'm not going to stand here and call them by names because
Right.
I know I'm no better than them. That's why I want this out of my heart. How do you address that? And how is it you stay strong on that? Because first thing was to fly out of your mouth is something derogatory when they do aggravate you.
Right, right. Well, it's a patience thing, you know what I mean? We need to learn to be forgiving as Christ has forgiven us. As Christ has forgiven us. And that's some tough stuff, you know. I mean, it takes some practice, it takes some patience, and you got to remember this. You got to take them individual. You have to learn to take them individual. You can't lump people into things. I mean, my God, Caps, if people looked at us, they'd think, oh, there's a couple of them no good biker types, you know?
Yeah.
So they've immediately addressed us as that, and that aggravates and scares a lot of people sometimes. So looking at it from our perspective, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, we kind of laugh it off, you
Yeah.
know? But there's nothing better than when we hold a door for a little old lady.
Oh, I do that.
You know, isn't it
Yeah.
fun? And they look at you like, oh, thank
And
you.
I don't even care
They
what
don't. They didn't.
ethnic background they
Right,
come from. I
right.
don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, ethnicity, God created all men equal. And in the Tower of Babel, it's where he started separating them.
Uh-huh.
Right? That's in the Old Testament. They talk about the Tower of Babel. Everybody spoke the same language. Okay? And man, as an evil entity, started building a tower. They said, we're going to ascend into heaven. And God said, we can't have this. Didn't say they couldn't do it. He said, we can't have this.
Mm-hmm.
So God went down and he confused their language. So as people were all talking different languages, they started bunching up. I can understand what you're saying, so they went this way. I can understand what you're saying, so they went over this way. And then he started spreading them out across the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, as far as skin pigmentation, all that stuff, that was an environmental change. You know, Eskimos look different than people from Europe, you know.
Yeah.
But as they moved out, their bodies started changing, you know, to adjust to their climates and stuff. So we're all the same people, you know, and we got to quit looking at people in the flesh, too, you know, because we're spirit. We're different inside. We're a spirit being.
Yeah.
This is just the housing that we're in. So if we can get, you know, think along God's terms. I love each and every person, okay? And we know that there's people out there that are evil.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you've been locked up. You were locked up with some evil people too, you know? I was locked up for years with some evil people of all colors, sizes, shapes, and backgrounds, man. Some of these guys were just out to lunch.
Yeah.
But it ain't the people. It's the spirit that drives them. Man, I would just love to take Faith to Faith to Africa sometime and have church with African church. Man, them guys are on fire, Cap.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
believing for some crazy stuff like food and water and getting it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there ain't nothing there. There's crops growing in the desert where nothing's ever grown before. There's people that have prayed to find a well and found it where the geologist said there ain't never going to be water here. God says, go flip that rock over, drill here, and they got water. So there are people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we take our eyes off of the church in America, you know, or the church in you know, this hemisphere, and start looking into believers, born again believers from all over the world, I think that'll break down a lot of our preconceived and grown up notions about things here. When we start looking at the bigger picture, I think that'll help us to say, hey, you know what, man, there's more going on here. And it's the love of God. Listen, he said, ask and you shall receive. Ask him and you shall receive it. Right?
Yeah.
Let's do that. I
Okay.
love you, man.
Love you, man.
All right. Thanks.